Because you're saying you have a master plan. I get that. That's the boundaries.
And
Okay, and then what's coming forward?
then later what happens is
If
on the
there's an
8th, we're gonna get the opportunity to vote as we feel is our judgment and our vote, our constituents, in reference to the district outline of the TADs. That's one. We finish that work, we put it aside, we're done, and that's it until they come back with projects or whatever needs to be also done. But on that same day, then City Village will present what they would like to see as their master plan for City Village. Because if we put the two together, we're going to get some confusion.
I understand it's separate as far as the boundaries. What I'm just trying to ask the question is, when you present your master plan, and these are the boundaries, is there anything within the concept of the master plan that will be pulled out to be used in a TAD that we have to vote on?
Well, no, let me just say, we could ask her to delay the master plan until January.
Oh, no.
No, I'm just saying, and we would still bring forward what they've presented. But something that in that master plan that they would bring in January could be a project that comes forward in the TAD.
Okay. I just want to know that we had enough time to see your presentation of your master plan, understand it, and whatever's coming down the road for the TAD, that we have ample opportunity to take a look at and understand it. So when you present, we can ask the questions, understand what your vision is.
I think the easiest way to explain this is that we're talking about boundaries of a TAD which exceed City Village.
Right.
So, I mean, we could name it the, north of Uptown. That'd be No Up or something district. We could name that this No Up district, and we might get some. There might be something from Bibb City that eventually, comes up that's going to be in this particular TAD, or something on 2nd Avenue on the east side of 2nd Avenue that could be in this TAD. Right now, we're just talking about the TAD. At the point that we present the City Village Master Plan to you, there could be projects within there that fall within the TAD district boundaries. But right now, yes, there could be, but again, we're not going to be even including that in the district at this point.
Vote on the 8th on your master plan.
Well, I think that's just to accept the master plan,
accept
isn't
the
it?
master plan. But I'm saying after receiving the master plan, are we not voting on the 15th?
Well, let me tell you what I have in mind. Yes, you're right. I don't want to mix the two. That's the first thing. And so I don't know what you plan to do with the master plan on the 8th, but what we have going right now is that, and I want in just a second, Director of Planning Rick Jones to put the slide back up to show the timeline that we're working with. What we are focused on right now, if you, the council, if you're interested in attempting to make this happen for Flournoy and for Uptown and Liberty and City Village before the end of the year, then we are going to come back at the very next meeting, or at the December 8th meeting, I should say. And we are going to have a public hearing because we've got advertising requirements that we've got to do. And so we're going to take the time between now and the second Tuesday in December, to do the necessary advertising, to make sure that we've got the redevelopment plans in hand, to make sure that we do the financial analysis and do everything that we've got to do from a staff standpoint. And so on the second Tuesday in December, which would be the 8th, I don't want to talk about master plan right now. We would be bringing to you a public hearing on these proposed TADs, the 4 of them. And we would have a public hearing during the council meeting. And After that council meeting, we'll do whatever adjustments we got to make based on your direction. And then that very next Tuesday, the third Tuesday, which will be the final meeting for the year as it stands right now, we would come back to you, we'd have the second discussion early in the agenda, either on the mayor's agenda or on the city attorney's agenda. But on my agenda, we'd be asking you to vote on a resolution to approve these boundaries for these 4 TADs. And so we'll have had the first public hearing on the 8th, and then on the 15th, we will have had a second hearing early in the agenda, and a vote would come on my agenda. And that's the timeline that we're working with. And if we miss anything in either of those on those dates, then the only way it will happen by the end of the year is you have a special call meeting, or they'll just have to wait another year. And so that's what we're focused on. So when we start bringing the master plan in on the 8th, on the same day that we're going to have public hearing, it could confuse some folk. And so we can either do it that day if we can separate the two, or we can wait.
Okay, well, let me restate it. What I'm saying is, let's say we approve all the TADs. Is there anything from the master plan that we will be considering later? No. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know, I'm trying to anticipate a counselor's question, though I don't know what it might, if this is it, but what about this 30-day notice period? That if, I mean, all the counselors and me, and I guess you and anybody else who fits the statutory definition needs to go and make sure that we don't and have not purchased property in the last 2 years, which should be pretty easy, but in any event, and then we need to let somebody know, so there's exactly 30 days before any vote. Or is it 30 days before a hearing? For a vote, 30 days before a vote. So I don't think there's an issue, but we just all need to double, triple check that we haven't purchased any property in the last 2 years
Sure.
in that area. And it's also direct or indirect, so spouses, or if you own a company, you know, that's the only thing that I think you need to add in the timeline. I guess we have to write it to the clerk of the court, Tiny,
Ms. Tanya, I have no
of council.
for no family.
And so, I was going to have Director Jones, well, the dates are up there. And so I just wanted to be clear on the schedule, the timeline, if you're interested in making this happen. So that would be the timeline.
But if you're going to vote on December 15th, what's today, the 10th?
You have 4 days.
So you got 4 days to let the clerk of council know whether you've purchased property in the last 2 years.
I'm going to email you right now.
In writing. And so we need to let Councilor Allen and Councilor Henderson know as well, just in case.
Send her an email or?
Yeah, can we,
You only need to notify her if you purchase land, purchase property. You don't need to notify if you haven't, right?
no, that's correct. Can you just send an email to the councilors just to double check, because we don't want something funny. And we do have people in real estate and development, so.
So
it
with
doesn't-
that, Madam Mayor.
It doesn't affect any of the business owners in the area?
No.
Okay.
So with that, if there are no other
If
questions.
you've owned it for 2 years. If you've owned it for 2 years. Is that correct?
Right. He asked about business owners
Business
in the
owners,
area.
we've been there over 30 years, but we're in
Right.
the district, so it's no
Right,
problem.
so you haven't purchased it within
Right.
2 years. But if you're a business owner and you did purchase it
Yeah.
last year or something,
Right.
yeah, okay.
If there are no further questions today about that, then we're going to conclude that update.
Yes.
Are you sure?
And I know that the day is long, and we will likely cancel all of the other updates.
Thank you.
And Madam Mayor, I can move into my agenda.
Okay, why don't you, go ahead and do that. Yeah, sure. Counselor Baker, please turn on his mic.
Because you're living there, I know. You live in that area. The percentage of residential property, is it pretty heavy up to that area that you're looking at?
Baker.
Well, you probably, either one of you, I bet you live
City
there,
Village.
you probably would know. You studied for a long time. The percentage of residential property in the City Village, that's probably heavier than the others.
I should know that. I don't know off the top of my head.
It's
I'll get
vacant.
that for you. I'll provide that to you.
I understand.
Yes,
And-
we have
and
very high vacancy,
Percentage
very
of
high.
owner-occupied versus investor-owned, is that?
Well,
Yeah, Justin?
we have that, and again, I just can't do it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Oh, just, go ahead.
The area within the boundary of the city village or this TAD is primarily residential. It's the third poorest census tract in Muskogee County. The owner occupancy rate is about 12%,
Okay, okay.
so it has a very high rental rate.
Which, well, it was just an issue really, and we don't know what happened with the vote, but the issue of a freeze. I mean, if all your residential property is frozen, there's not going to be there's not going to be any incremental increases.
That's right.
Right.
So I didn't know what we were looking at, but just throw that into the mix somewhere. But if it's 12%, I'm assuming that's going to be immaterial. But nonetheless, it's worth taking a look at.
And the only thing I would add is that simply as far as areas that are ripe for redevelopment within this area, within this TAD boundary, are not necessarily the primarily the single-family residential houses that you see throughout City Village and Bibb City. It's the commercial corridors, the vacant land,
Sure,
all
that's
of
right.
that.
But those others may have to participate in the repayment of the debt. And if there's no incremental increase, then it could impact your numbers. And that, just take a look. Thank you.
Yeah, I think just be aware of that, and when we come back next time, be prepared to address that. I think you're okay with the 12%, obviously, that's incredibly low.
The valuation change takes that into account.
Okay,
So there are other cities in the state where that's been an issue because they have a similar freeze, and the underwriters can deal with that. So, you know, we've encountered that. Marietta, similar problems.
Counselor Henderson, what's it?
Due to conflicts in my schedule, I haven't been able to attend the meeting you had on City Village. If you can email me or call me and let's set up a time so you can brief me on that presentation.
Will do.
That's going to come, because that way I can get all my questions answered then, and when the presentation come, I'll be ready to support it.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Mr. City Manager, take it away.
Madam Mayor, first on my agenda is approval of the fiscal year 17 holiday schedule, and the only one that we're really addressing is Christmas Eve, which is Friday, December 23rd, 2016. All the other holidays, Independence Day, Labor Day, fall on the
Got a
usual
motion
day.
and second for approval of the 2017 holiday schedule. If there's no further discussion, okay, after the vote? Okay, after the vote. Then all those in favor, please state aye. Any opposed? Councilor Thomas.
Mr. City Mr. City Manager, this is for the FY16 holiday schedule. We are about to get into the first Thursday, Friday holidays with our garbage pickup, and I have had several people already ask me about, so when is my garbage going to be picked up if my normal day is Thursday or Friday? My request to you is let's start talking about that as soon as we can, because it is different. As I understand it, it's different than the commercial that we put out. And so I just want to make sure that people know
Is it different?
when their garbage is going to be picked up for Thanksgiving and for Christmas.
Okay, we will certainly do that. It is different than the commercial, and we're going to be bringing out a new commercial, but we will put out a lot of information.
And we
social
still won't
media
hit
and
everybody
otherwise.
that's going to ask about it, but let's start talking about it and talk about it quite a bit so that
Sure.
they'll know to get their garbage out on Tuesday instead of Wednesday or Thursday.
Sure. And we'll get all of that to you.
We've had the schedule. I mean, that's how I knew, because we've been sent the
Yeah.
schedule. But let's just talk about it a whole lot.
We will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
Go ahead.
Next on my agenda is a lease agreement for the Victor Drive property.
Got a motion and second for approval. Is there any further discussion on this item?
And this is the Old Welcome Center. The disabled veterans will be leasing instead of the Chattahoochee Valley Veterans Council. So it's just, they're already in the building with them. They'll lease instead of this group, and they'll continue forward with the facility.
All right, seeing that there's no further discussion.
You have a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, comment. I'm
Just
sorry.
the
Gotcha.
fact that,
Yeah, when sure, go ahead.
just the
Councilor
fact
Morris.
that they have been using it, really, they use it more often than any other organization there. And so it's just kind of like it's a really a good thing that there's a transition.
Okay. All right, all those in favor, please state aye. Any opposed?
And next, I've got a quitclaim deed from Uptown to City of Columbus.
Got a motion and second for approval. Is there any discussion related to this item? Seeing that there's none, all those in favor, please state aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Next, approval is requested, and this is an enterprise zone request. And so we're requesting approval for Anchor Pack LLC to receive enterprise zone tax abatements.
Okay, we've got a motion and second for approval. Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please state aye. Are there any opposed?
And the second enterprise zone request is for BD&K Food, Inc. to receive enterprise zone tax abatement.
Got a motion and second for approval. Is there any further discussion on this enterprise zone? Seeing none, all those in favor, please state aye. Any opposed? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Huff.
Mr. City Manager, if you would, have someone to send me a contact for those last two. Kind of like Councilor Thomas now. I'm elated that they're there, but I didn't know they were coming.
Sure.
And I would like to have met with them to thank them for wanting to be in the district.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've got fiscal year 16 local government and improvement grant is to LMIG for Forest Road widening project.
Motion and second for approval. Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing that there's none, all those in favor, please state aye. Any opposed?
Got 2015-16 District Attorney Victim Witness Assistance
Okay.
grant.
We've got a motion and second for approval. Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing that there's none, all those in favor, please state aye. Any opposed?
And we've got 15-16 Victim of Crime Act Special Award. It's a grant for $81,836 with a 5% crime victim surcharge fund match.
Got a motion and second for approval. Is there any discussion related to this item? Seeing that there's none, all those in favor, please state aye. Are there any opposed?
Move approval of the purchases A through C.
Okay, we've got a motion and second for approval of items A through C, which is an oil lubricants annual contract, asphalt, rubber, and sealant annual contract, and repair of Caterpillar D7R bulldozer. Is there any discussion on any of these items? Seeing that there's none, all those in favor, please state aye. Are there any opposed?
Madam Mayor, I've got an add-on. At the last council meeting, probate court judge Mark D'Antonio was here with and there was something on the agenda to approve hiring an employee of his at a certain level. And so I've got a resolution asking that the resolution was not necessary, and the judge of probate has requested it be rescinded.
Correct. Yeah, we've got a motion from Councilor Barnes to rescind the resolution as unnecessary. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Seeing that there's none, all those in favor, please state aye. Any opposed? Okay.
I've got a number of presentations, but I am going to delay them.
Okay, great. And now we'll turn it over to the clerk. Would you please turn on the clerk's microphone. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. City Manager, did you do the vocal grant?
Yes.
Okay, I guess I missed that.
The vocal grant, that was
What's that now?
the second crime
Yes.
victim, yeah.
I thought we voted.
We did.
Okay.
We voted on both.
Because I told them, I
Yep.
thought.
Yeah. On the
Okay.
clerk's agenda, items 1 through 8 are for the council's information. Item number 9 is a resolution to excuse Councilor Huff from the October 22nd meeting.
All right, we've got a motion and second to approve. All those in favor, please state aye.
I have an add-on to excuse Councilor Allen from today's meeting due to illness.
Okay, we've got a motion and second for approval. All those in favor, please state aye.
Item number 10, this is correspondence from the Secretary of Circle. She's asking that several of these seats be declared vacant due to the lack of attendance of those board members.
Do we just receive that?
I need a motion to have those seats declared vacant.
Move second.
Motion and second to declare these seats vacant. All those in favor, please state aye. Oh, excuse me, yes?
This says, the email says post 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Yes.
Is that the,
What posts
It
are those?
does not correspond.
It doesn't
with the
correspond to
districts.
council districts.
It's just the way that when the ordinance was first created, they had those positions listed as posts.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we
Just
had
wanted to
a
make
motion
sure.
and second, and that concludes discussion. All those in favor, please state aye. Great.
Minutes of various boards can be received.
Okay. A motion and second to receive the minutes. All those in favor, please state aye.
On our board appointments,
Okay.
yes.
Just one quick question on Circle. Did they submit attendance records so you'd have something to verify that with? Or
No, they did not. We'll go back and make sure
I
we
would
do
get something to
get that.
document those absences. Thank you.
Okay.
On our board appointments, on our airport commission, we have forwarded the request to the authority to submit 3 names for Mr. Thomas Bergberg's seat. We have not heard back yet. Animal Control Advisory Board, we have made contact with Dr. Glass regarding this appointment. We've not received any response back yet. On our Board of Health, Ms. Yasmin Cartwright can be confirmed. She's been renominated.
We've got a motion for confirmation. Is there a second? All those in favor, please state aye.
Also, on our Board of Tax Assessor, Mr. Randolph has been renominated. He can be confirmed.
We've got a motion and second for approval. All those in favor, please state aye.
Cooperative Extension, Ms. Margaret Higdon has been renominated.
Okay, we've got a motion for approval from Councilor Woodson. Is there a second? All those in favor, please state aye.
On our Hospital Authority, we still need 1 additional nominee for Mr. Ernest Smallman's seat, as well as Mr. Edward Gaffney, to forward these over to the authority from which they will select that successor. On the Employees Pension Board of Trustees, the mayor is nominating Mr. Chuck Staples. He can be confirmed.
Confirmation.
Got a motion and second for confirmation. All those in favor, please state aye.
On our Personnel Review Board, we have some vacancies coming up at the end of December. Mr. Charles Hart, who's our regular member, Mr. Charles Little, our alternate member, Mr. Ron Mahoney. Ms. Watson has been renominated. She can be confirmed.
Move confirmation. Are any of the others interested?
We've been trying to make contact with them, have not been successful yet. We'll continue to try, and hopefully we'll have an answer at our next meeting.
Okay, we'll move confirmation to the one we can do.
Can I have a
Okay.
second, please?
All right, all those in favor, please state aye.
And Mr. Gerald Wyatt is not eligible to succeed himself. Recreation Advisory Board, Councilor Davis will need a nominee from you. Dr. Johnson has resigned. And also for a District 7 seat, Councilor Woodson, Ms. Tracy Belk has also resigned. Taxicab Commission, we're still working to get a replacement for that taxicab driver. On our tree board, Mr. William Consoletti, who's the at-large member, we put in a call to them to see if they wanted to continue to serve. We've heard back from Ms. Wright. She does want to be reappointed if someone would renominate her.
Go ahead.
And then on the Uptown Facade Board, we've received the nominations from Uptown Business Association for Mr. Rick Johnson's seat, Ms. J.C. Jenkins, for Mr. Doug Jeffcoat, Mr. Jeffcoat to be renominated, as well as Mr. Steve Morris. We can have a motion for confirmation.
Move confirmation.
So that's a motion and confirmation for J.C. Jenkins, Doug Jeffcoat, and Steve Morris. All those in favor, please state aye.
And that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Okay, we had a request for an executive session, Mr. City Attorney. It was on property disposition and transfer
And potential litigation.
and potential litigation. All right, I'll entertain him. Okay?
Before we go to the executive session, may I say one thing?
Sure, yes.
Before we go into executive session, I think we need to stand and give the city manager a hand. Our city managers received an award among all the city managers in city and county,
That's 700.
and out of 700 people, our city manager received, I can't remember, it's something excellent. Excellent. And I want to say, from my heart,
Well, thank you so much.
Very well deserved. They didn't ask my opinion, but had they, I would have concurred, so congratulations.
And I would also like to say to council, over the holidays coming up, I want us to give thought to where we do our council meetings. I know we've looked at this before, and we changed the format in which we do our meetings and when we have proclamations and resolutions. We need to look again. In the first of the year, we need to make a conscious decision. If we're going to have a proclamation resolution session the first Tuesday in each month, then we need to have it the first Tuesday in each month, and we all need to be here. It looks bad when only a few show up, and then people say, well, where are the rest of the councilors? So I'm asking that we look at that, and the first of the year we have a deep, downhearted discussion on it.
All right. Words of wisdom from our Mayor Pro Tem. We've got a motion and second for an executive session as stated on.
I'll go ahead and make the motion.
Okay, well, let's do it again. We have had a request for an executive session on property disposition, transfer, and potential litigation. And so
I make the motion.
Glenn made who made a motion? Somebody make a motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion. We move into executive session.
Okay, and then we've got Councilor Davis with a second. Okay, we got a second. All those in favor, please state aye. All right, let's clear the chambers, please.
We have a motion and a second to come out of executive session. No votes were taken.
Oh, you gotta do it again? We gotta do it again, because it's being recorded.
Take a vote.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to come out of executive session. All those in favor say aye. We're out of the executive session and no votes were taken in the executive session. Mr. City
What's the
Attorney.
officer's name?
What'd you say, Will Green?
Okay.
Okay.
Something else?
Can I please get a motion to settle the vehicle accident claim involving
Second.
Shelby Holland for $30,000?
Second?
We have a motion and motion by Councilor Buck and a second by Councilor Woodson to settle the lawsuit for.
Shelby Holland claim for $30,000.
All those in favor of that motion say aye. All those opposed say nay.
Thank you, that's all we had.
Is there anything else to come before council?
Second.
We stand adjourned. Excuse me, Councilor Barnes.
Oh, yes, I do. Just to remind everyone that thank you. Just to remind everyone that the Veterans Day Parade is Saturday the 14th